Hello everyone, welcome to Tom Talks, my brand new series where I talk about my thoughts on the world. So for episode 1 we're going to be talking a bit about Restore Britain, who is a party, should I say, run by Rupert Law, who is a essentially far-right politician, MP for Great Yarmouth, and he basically wants to take control of the United Kingdom, make Britain great again, blah blah blah, mass deportations, this, that, yeah. If you haven't heard of him, I'll be very surprised. So I'm making this video today because quite a lot of people think it'd be a good idea to vote Restore Britain and Rupert Law. So I've got some videos we can watch and I'll explain them to you. But ultimately this party is in the interest of Rupert Law and no one else. What he wants to do is, and I can quote him on this.
We've said we will detain and deport every person illegally arriving, but we will then find and deport those people living here illegally and deport them.
But the last hostile
We will then
environment...
deport the 10,500 foreign criminals in our prisons, and we will then turn our attention, unlike Farage, who said, he's claimed that I said we deport whole communities of people with British passports. I've never said that. We will turn our attention then, as Sweden and Denmark are doing now, having pursued a very ill-judged policy of immigration in 2015, along with Merkel. We will turn our attention to those people who came here, who are not contributing to Britain, who are costing the taxpayer money, and we will find a formula to encourage them to leave.
So ultimately you can translate that as deport legal migrants, which I don't know why you do that, considering that they're here legally. Why would you do that? But yeah. So as our first video today, we've got Rupert Law stands on a ladder to address huge crowd in Great Yarmouth. So let's get started.
Right, well, good morning everybody. What a fantastic turnout, and so many of you have come from so far. I think I've spoken to people from Aberdeen, Sheffield, Leeds, almost everywhere across the country. And for me, that is the most important aspect of what's happening today, because finally real people are standing up for what they believe in, finally. Because we as a small team can't do this on our own. So for me, it's incredibly uplifting to see all of you actually coming out from your homes, making a real effort. And we're going to show, hopefully today, how local people can take control of their own local democracy. So we want to win and show the model bottom up. My job will be to win top down. If we can start that process today, I know there are other people who are setting up branches, so hopefully we can collectively go and help them when the time comes. So this is arguably the most exciting day of my life, to see you all here making a huge effort, because if we don't, I fear we're going to lose the country we love by 2029.
Shut up. There we go. So, you get the idea. That is basically the man that he is. You heard in that last line there, we're going to lose the country that we love by 2029. That is basically to rush people to vote for him. It's a bit like blackmail, really, when you think about it. But, yeah, I mean, by the title and the thumbnail, you would genuinely think that he was speaking to a crowd the size of Wembley Stadium, but there's probably a few hundred there at most. So yeah. But yeah, I will say before we move on, some of his policies aren't the worst. For example, defund the BBC. To be fair, I don't think that politicians or the government should have control over kind of TV shows that go on TV, YouTube or social media. Yeah, fine, but yeah. What I also think is interesting about this is it was uploaded by his propaganda machine, Join Restore Britain, so we can tell it was uploaded by him, pretty much, or his little minions, or whatever you want to call them. So, right, the next video we're going to watch is another guy, this is not Rupert Law, talking about abortion.
Today is one of the darkest days in recent history for Britain. Last night, the House of Lords voted to decriminalise abortion up to birth. This was not promised in any manifesto by Labour or any other party, and just 1% of the public support this policy. On the contrary, over half of Brits believe it should be illegal to terminate a pregnancy after 24 weeks. Britain aborts 300,000 babies every year, and since its legalisation in 1967, 11 million abortions have taken place. This is monstrous enough on its own before you consider the fact that today there are around 11 million foreign-born individuals living in our country. This parallel is not a coincidence. Abortion is a major driver behind Britain's demographic crisis, and these changes are only going to make that worse. Restore Britain's position is clear. We would reverse these changes to abortion law as quickly as possible after taking power. Today is one of the...
So I'm not sure what he's getting at there, whether or not he's wanting to criminalise abortion, or if he's going to decriminalise it up to 24 weeks rather than up to birth. Because, you know, up to birth probably is a little bit extreme. But it's not really your choice either. You don't know the reasons behind why this person's getting an abortion. What if they can't afford to have a baby because of the cost of living crisis? The cost of living crisis that you claim to want to help. Why? It's not your choice. It is the woman's choice who's having the baby, whether or not she wants to abort the baby. You, as an MP, whatever this person's called here, you cannot say you cannot have that baby because ultimately it's going to harm the demographic of the UK, because it's not. I do, and I've said this before a lot as well, I do think that Restore is basically just Rupert Law. His interests, what he wants for the country ultimately. I don't think he's speaking within the interests of the British people. I do think that he is literally just speaking for his own interests. So the next video we're going to watch is called Courageous Young British Lad Does the Unthinkable. Sends warning to Starmer and speaks everyone's mind. Let's see if he speaks my mind.
Keir Starmer is finished. This man is trying everything in his will to keep us away from realising what's really happening in Britain. Now let me quickly give you one example. He is changing the menu in schools to get rid of fried food and pizza, I believe it is, to introduce more healthy food. Now, instead of visiting schools, Keir, you could be doing something really good. And instead of changing schools' menus, maybe you could start mass deportations. Or just really do something.
Oh my days! Wow! Now, the left in politics do get accused quite a lot of indoctrination, which is basically where you coerce someone to accept your own beliefs. What we're seeing here is indoctrination. A young kid like this, whoever he is, I don't know who he is, probably Rupert Law's grandchild or whatever, saying, let's do mass deportations. You know, that's just not something that ordinary kids say. There must be some motive behind this. There must be. I'll continue watching this because this is quite interesting.
For Britain and say what's right. Mass immigration is letting people into our country that don't even respect our culture or heritage. This needs to stop. Us British people need to stand up and work together for a better future.
But yeah, you get the idea. I mean, it's indoctrination, really. So, Rupert Law has been endorsed by quite a few far-right people, public people, whatever you call them. Tommy Robinson, I believe, yeah. Elon Musk, who else was it? It was Katie Hopkins and a few others. Duncan Bannatyne, Jeremy Clarkson, etc. So this is what Rupert Law has to say about that.
Key three words are, when you're called a racist or you're called a bigot or you're called right-wing, which I don't even think we are, I just think we're the common sense party, the three key words are, I don't care.
Someone needs to make this guy into like a comedian, because genuinely you cannot say I'm going to deport hundreds of thousands of people and then say, well, I'm not right wing. the political compass exists for a reason. So then you can look at parties and you can listen to what they say and you can say, yep, I know where they are on the political compass. Do they align with my beliefs or not? If you hear someone talking about mass deportations and in the same sentence you go, oh, we're not right wing, then the person watching it is going to go, what the hell? You know, ultimately, he is just, in many ways, he's contradicting what he's saying. So there you go, you get the idea. We've gone through a few shorts there, we've gone through a few videos. It was all very exciting. If you didn't already know as well, I'm going to spread some awareness about Rupert Law. So he was suspended by Reform UK, which is why he started it, because ultimately he was a bully. Especially considering, you know, ultimately he's a politician, and we shouldn't as British people have to put up with people who are horrible like that. Bullies are just some of the most horrible people on this earth, you know. I mean, and ultimately Rupert Law, in my opinion, is quite racist. I don't care, call me left wing, I'm not. He just is rather racist in my opinion. But again, that's just my opinion. So that's it for today, folks. Thank you everyone for watching, and I'll see you all next week. Bye bye now.